All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to debut what I'm about to debut to you right now. For the first time ever, we are selling a digital product, a script that is meant to make your life easier. So we're going to go through and we're going to do the whole thing from scratch, as if I'm a customer who's coming onto the site and looking at how to purchase and use this particular script. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go out to darkscalepc.com, and then we're going to go out to the shop, and then we're going to find this right here, the Darkscale optimization script. So there's a few different things out here as far as options. You know, we have all these different computers and stuff. These are pretty nice. We got branded content, you know, all this really neat stuff out here. But the one that we're focusing on today is this downloadable script. All right. So we're going to go in here. So what is it? This is a batch file or a script built on the Windows 10 and 11 operating systems. Built-in tools for optimization or for optimizing and cleaning your computer. Here are the requirements. Your computer must be running Windows 10 or Windows 11 to properly use the product, and you must be able to run the script as an administrator. If you do not have administrative rights, this script is not going to do you any good. So make sure of that. And then, again, it reiterates, your operating system has to be Windows 10 or Windows 11. If you're running Linux, no. If you're running Windows XP, no. If you're running Mac OS, no. So this is not built for any of those. It's built for Windows 10 and Windows 11. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add this to our cart. Let's go to checkout. And then, all right, we're going to go ahead and check out. And we're going to go ahead and continue here. And it's going to say you have to agree to some different things, such as the digital item policy. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this digital item policy. Any digital items purchased, such as scripts or automation programs, are non-refundable. The reason for this is that once the item is downloaded, it cannot be accounted for again, as it could have been copied and even distributed to multiple people. There are other things in here. Let's see, this has to do with physical products and things like that. Now, there are some things that I will allow a credit to be returned to you if you're purchasing this. And one of those things would be if it does not run on your computer. Let's say you purchased it, didn't realize you were running Windows XP, and this only supports Windows 10 and 11. I can understand how this would not work for you. I will issue a refund to you, all right? Within reason. If you purchased 900 of them, if you purchased 900 of them and then you want your money back, there's a lot of money that goes into processing the orders, and that stuff is taken out by a third party when it's processed, and so that means I would be losing all of that money. So it would be then at my discretion how much of that I'd be willing to return if that was the case. So barring any obscene, crazy circumstances, if you have an issue with the software and we cannot fix it for you, we will refund you the money. All right, we will refund you the money. So we're gonna go ahead and place this order. Now we can actually download the script. All right, so you'll be receiving your confirmation email as well, but we're also going to have this option to download it. So we're gonna go ahead and click on download. Here we go, the Darkscale optimization zip file. This is actually in your downloads folder where this will show up, okay? So the first thing that we are going to want to do, we're going to want to move this to a different location, because the downloads folder is not actually where we want to keep it. We want to keep it like, oh, I don't know, in your desktop or your documents folder. So let's copy this. Let's put it in the music folder. I know this is totally the wrong place to put it, but I'm putting it in here because there's less things in here than anywhere else. And the reason I don't want it to be in my downloads folder is because you don't want to keep things in your downloads folder that you want to use in the future, because you want to purge your downloads folder, and this script is going to do that some of the time. So we're going to want to make sure that we don't have things stored in the downloads folder. Move into a place where you're going to use them from, such as your desktop, your documents, pictures, things like that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to extract it. Say extract. Now it's going to open up, and it's going to say run optimization.bat right here after it's been extracted. Now you can try to run it before extraction, but I'm saying you probably want to run it after extraction, just because there's fewer problems that can happen when it's not in a compressed format. So we're going to right click on it. We're going to click Run as Administrator. Now it's going to come up with this thing, all right? Because this is developed by me and not on your computer, but on my computer, it's going to say Windows protected your PC, Microsoft Defender Smart Screen prevented an unregistered or unrecognized app from running. Running this script might put your PC at risk. Okay, So yes, this is a good thing that Windows has done. It's brought this up because scripts can be dangerous. But because we know what this is for, because I know that it's safe, I'm going to go ahead and click on More Info. I'm going to say Run Anyway. Once I've done that, it's going to come up and ask me for admin permissions, and I'm going to say yes. All right, and then I'm going to go through this whole process here of getting everything running. So I'm going to close all this stuff out. And then it's going to come up with this little prompt. This script was created by Matthew Powell. Some of the commands and programs used here are open source and are owned by another entity, such as Microsoft. But the scripting used to put it all together and make things easier is a proprietary work of me, Matthew Powell, from darkscalepc.com, and is copyrighted. Redistribution for money or for free is strictly prohibited unless prior authorization from Darkscale PC has been obtained. Now, if you're buying this and you want to use it on all of your computers at home, I don't care. Use it to your heart's content on all your computers at home. But please don't buy this as a technician and go and start using this on hundreds of PCs across and start making money on this without properly purchasing the license for a technician. So the one that I'm showing you right now is actually the consumer version. If you want to do this as a technician, please get the license for the technician. It is not much more expensive, but it just kind of helps to offset some of the costs of the website, things like that, because it costs money to run a website. It costs time to develop scripts like this that are used to make your life easier. So please make sure you pitch in, help out a little bit by purchasing the proper package for what you're planning to do, because this script is going to make your life a lot easier if you are a consumer or whether you're a technician. All right, this is going to do a whole bunch of things for you, and it's going to save you time, and in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of time, just because of how quickly it does all these different things. And you don't have to remember all the commands and all these different things that you got to do, right? So this is a really great tool. So let's continue on. So it says press any key to continue, so I can press enter, and it will continue on. Warning. So this is the first thing it comes up with here. So this script actually has a lot of warnings, and it kind of describes what it's doing as it goes through. So warning, first part of this optimization script is meant to optimize Windows by doing the following things. It deletes all the data, and this is going to be different per person here, this first part. C users ELIMI app data local temp directory. So this is your personal local temp directory. That's that first one that gets deleted. Then it's the Windows temp directory for basically the whole computer. It deletes all the stuff in there. Now, this is not all that important usually. Usually if you delete all the stuff in there, all that stuff is supposed to be purged, but sometimes it just doesn't get purged because Windows doesn't properly do it, or the programs that are using the temp data don't properly purge the information because they either get killed before they have a chance to get rid of it, or something along those lines, right? But as you'll see, there's a little caveat here. Though few programs store permanent data on these locations, in some cases, poor software design can cause data to be put there. In such rare cases, you may lose configurations or data in those specific programs. Do not proceed unless you accept this potential risk. Do you wish to accept the risk of deletion? Now, this is just for this particular piece of this optimization script. Now, you can say no, and it'll continue on to the next piece. But on this, I already know that there's not really anything that I need to worry about on my computer that's going to get messed up by this. Most people don't have that, but this is a do it at your own risk thing. So if you delete it and one of your programs stops working that was built very poorly by somebody and runs in kind of a ramshackle way, then it's your fault because you ran it in spite of the fact that there were some warnings, okay? So just be aware of that. I'm going to say yes, I'm going to run this because I'm very confident in the things that I have on here that they're not running that kind of a ramshackle software that was built improperly. So I'm going to hit yes and go. It'll go through. There's some things that it cannot delete, and it'll say this process, so on and so forth, is trying to get a hold of a file that's already, still open or whatever. So if the files are still open, it won't be able to delete it. So if you've got programs open, you run it, and those programs are still accessing files in the temp data or the temp directory, it will not delete those files. So you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. So I've gotten through that step, and now it's asking me another question. Next, the script is going to do the following. It's going to permanently delete data in and this is of course my user account, downloads directory. So what this means is everything in downloads is going to get purged. Why is this something that we're bringing up on a warning? Well, sometimes people store things in downloads, inadvertently perhaps, but they'll download something and then they'll refer back to it and they'll edit it while it's still in downloads. They'll keep it in downloads and they'll just always look for it in downloads instead of moving it to the appropriate place, such as documents or desktop or pictures or something like that. So if you are deleting your downloads directory, which it's probably a good thing to purge it every once in a while because it gets bloated. I mean, you download so many things over so much time, and those things can sometimes be really big, especially for driver packages and things like that. They can take multiple gigs on your computer. And so I would say make sure that you go through, get rid of anything out of there that you might actually want, save it in the right places, right? And then say yes to permanently delete everything in the downloads folder. First, make sure that everything that you want in that downloads folder is moved to a different location. Then say yes. So permanently delete data in this folder, this directory. Though there should not be anything permanently stored in this location, please make sure there is nothing in your downloads folder that you wish to keep. Do you wish to permanently delete everything in the downloads folder? Yes or no? I'm going to say yes. Next thing it's going to do is it's going to check for Windows telemetry, and it's going to disable it. It's a very fast process, by the way. It goes very quickly. But the reason why this is important is Windows has certain things built directly into the operating system, which kind of keep an eye on what you do. Now, this has actually become kind of an accepted practice with Microsoft, where they just kind of low-key spy on you, figure out how you're using things, and then they try to tailor the Windows experience based on the information they collect. They can collect a lot of information, though, depending on what level of agreement you're in with it. So I would say just disable this telemetry, because you don't. There's just no real reason to have it. The only ones who really benefit from it are Microsoft. You don't really benefit from it at all. So I just automatically turn that off. If you want to, you can go back in and turn it back on. I am not going to show you how to do that. There are videos out there that show you how. I'm not going to show you how to do it. Okay, next, important. Do you want to do a deep clean on your drive? So this can be very important if you're running out of disk space on your computer. So if the C drive is running out of disk space, which I've seen this happen many, many times to people, they're like, oh, what do I do? What things do I get rid of? Well, this will help you by getting rid of some of the bigger things that are on the computer that really aren't that important. They don't really do a whole lot for you. So I'm going to go through this list and show you some of the things that this actually would take care of or get rid of and things like that. So the first one would be, it's going to erase the temporary setup files that are no longer running on your system. These are things that get downloaded over the internet while you're on a website. They execute some things in the background or whatever while you're on the computer, on the website, and then that's supposed to go away once you log off the site or close out of the site, whatever. Those things you get rid of, no problem. It will also erase downloaded program files from the internet. Also, not a problem. This will delete temporary internet files. This is where you could potentially run into not necessarily a problem, but an annoyance, if you will. If you have a lot of websites that stay logged in when you close your browser and you open it back up and you click on the website, it just automatically logs you in. You're there. That does that by using data like cookies and stuff like that, website data that is stored on your computer. If you delete the temporary internet files, if you do that, all of those things that you automatically logged into will go away and you'll have to log back into them. If you don't mind doing that, then okay, it's not an issue, not a risk for you. But if that's going to be a huge problem for you, if you don't know what all the logins are, if you get logged out of all those things and that causes you a problem and that you're going to have a real hard time getting logged back in, you may not want to do this step. All right, so you're going to leave that in your court. That's up to you. So again, it'll force you to sign back into all your sites, and you will lose any stored data on your local computer for any websites. These are both negative things. However, there can be a problem sometimes when you try to log into certain sites and they just don't work right anymore. Like you try to log into Facebook, and Facebook doesn't let you log in, or it looks weird, or it does these weird things that it's not supposed to do. Sometimes that can be because there's data on your computer being stored that's corrupted, that's relating to that website. So if you do get rid of all this information and you say yes, that could potentially fix those issues if you are having those issues. So there are positives and there are negatives with that. This will also, or may also, delete old check disks files. So when your computer runs a check disk to see if there's any damaged sectors on your hard drive, anything that it keeps about that and says, okay, this is the information I have for damaged things on this computer, that's going to go away. That should not be a problem, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. The other thing that can happen is it may get rid of things in your recycle bin. This should be a low risk because you should never keep anything in your recycle bin that you even think maybe you want to keep. Because the only thing that goes in that recycle bin is things that you're almost 100% positive you want to get rid of. And the only reason you keep it in there is because there's that little inkling in your brain that maybe you might want to get back just in case, a couple weeks down the road. This has actually got a chance that it will delete those things that are in the recycling bin. So all those things being said, you choose, do you want to proceed with the deeper clean? I say yes. I'm just going to show you what it does because it's not that big of a deal to me. It brings up disk cleanup like this. Again, this is a Windows program built right into there, but it automatically runs this specific way of cleaning things. And then in the background, you'll see this right here. You successfully resolved the low disk space condition. Your C volume now has this many megabyte of free space remaining. And then it'll tell you some more stuff about how you can free up more space if you really want to. This script will not continue on until you click OK. If you stay at this screen, you will never continue on in the cleanup or the optimization script. It will stay there. So let's click OK. Now it's going to say running optimization on the system drive. The time it might take for it to run on your drive, it tells you the different types of time frames it can take. If it's a solid state drive, it's probably going to be that fast. and I've got a solid state drive, so it's done. Big, hard drives, maybe a little bit longer. Next thing we're going to do is check for errors. So in the operating system. So this particular part is done by a program developed by Microsoft called DISM. It checks your operating system files, and if it finds a file that's corrupted or that's not quite right, goes out to Microsoft, grabs the proper copy of the file, puts it in place. It's very useful if you are maybe having some weird random glitches and the computer isn't quite working right. Sometimes viruses and things like that, or malware, if they get onto your computer, can damage things like that. You can put things in there that corrupts them, or just improper shutdowns can also do the same thing, where things don't get written back properly or they get corrupted somehow. So running this every once in a while is very good to keep your computer in good health, and that is exactly what it's doing. And it says, please be patient. Slower drives can take up to 20 minutes to do this. If you have a really, really slow drive, it might take longer, or if you have a computer that's just having a lot of issues, like real bad slowness, which may not necessarily even be caused by some of the things that are addressed with this script, like malware, for instance. And that would be taken care of in a different way if it was malware, by the way. But this can take a little while to happen. If you have a solid state drive, it goes a lot faster. And so we're going to continue on here. All right, it is done with that, and it's going to continue on. Next thing it's going to do is run the system file checker. This is also a Windows program. It's kind of like DISM, operates a little differently, and we run those in tandem. We run DISM, and then we run system file checker, or SFC, in order to make sure that everything in your operating system files is in great condition. And so all of this stuff, as we're going through and doing the scans and stuff, logs of it are being put into a special file so that you can review it later if you have any questions. We can also use that to troubleshoot if it doesn't feel like your computer is running it right, the script right. We can actually troubleshoot if you call in and you say, hey, I'm having an issue, or you message us or email us or whatever you decide to do to get a hold of us. You say, hey, this isn't working right on my computer. Then we can use those log files to kind of figure out where it went wrong or what's really happening. But anyways, this is going to go ahead and do some system checks on the files, on the system files. And then once that's done, we'll continue on. All right, so now it's going to tell us no errors detected. The script reached the end without crashing. That tells us that it's gone through everything it needed to go through. There was nothing that didn't work right and then caused the script to end prematurely. All right, so no errors were detected. To see what was removed and to see a log of your choices when running this program, the location of the log is C, run opt logs, and then this is the name of it. So this program or this script, I should say, will actually keep up to 5 of your most recent logs when you're running this script. The reason why we only keep 5 is because we don't want to just continually build this humongous number of files if you run this over time and just have this script alone generating garbage on your computer that is essentially worthless to you. We only need to keep the last 5 logs, for when we're running it if it's not running right. Okay, so we can go back and check and see where something went wrong, things like that. All right, so we're actually going to go ahead and hit enter on this, and we're going to go check. So we're going to go to run opt logs here, and we're going to see one of the files here, the most recent file, of course, being this one right here. We're going to open that up, and here is what we're going to see. Everything that this did is going to be shown in here. So it says the system drive is C. In other words, that's where Windows is stored. And it'll tell us as you go through what you've chosen to do. So in one of these different times through that I was going through and running this script, I said, I don't want to delete temp files. I do not want to delete everything in the downloads folder. And then it says checking for and disabling Windows telemetry. And it tells me if it was running or not. And then it'll say user chose to do a deeper clean. And so then it ran the deep clean. And then it just wouldn't spit anything out. It would just run the deep clean and be done. And then this is where I did the optimization. It's invoking a retrim on my solid state drive. So then it says the operation completed successfully. It gives me some information about what was done, how much space was trimmed, things like that. Optimization on the drive has completed, it says. So we know that all the other stuff finished. Preparing error checking phase. Running DISM on the Windows system. So this is that tool I was telling you about. And so if we scroll down, we'll see the percentages is going through over and over and over again as we go. It's kind of verbose, but that's just the way it is. We see that it got all the way up to 100% completion. It says the restore operation completed successfully, the operation completed successfully, and then so we're done there. Then we go to the system file checker. That's not right, I need to change that, but that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. The system file checker on the system drive. Beginning system scan, this process will take some time, it tells you, and then it goes through. And you see it gets all the way up to 100% complete. Windows Resource Protection did not find any integrity violations. This usually only happens after you've run this a couple of times already. Usually it will find integrity violations. That's just 90% of the time. And so that's why this is important to use this particular program on a regular basis. Not necessarily every day, but monthly or so, or weekly might not be a bad idea. All right. Checking for files that need to be purged from logs. So this is where it actually goes in, finds everything but the last 5 log files and deletes everything else out of that folder. And then it'll say process finished, no crashes detected. So once you look at this, you say, okay, it got all the way to the end of the script. It didn't crash. Nothing happened to the process. The script completed everything it was supposed to do, didn't run any errors. This is how we know that it completed properly. All right. So that is basically all there really is to know about this particular program. So if you have any questions, you can always text me and I will reply back to you as soon as I can and get you some information if you have any questions about this script. If you would like to purchase this as a technician, let me know and we will get you some special technician prices. And we only do it per technician. We're not going to do it for, every computer that you work on. That would be a horrible thing. I hate it when people do that. So we license it to the technician. Just make sure that, again, this is something that we don't want to sell to other people as a completed work. We don't want to give it away to people who have not purchased it. It's the script specifically that has been designed and pulled together to make this whole process extremely easy. Give us a log file, show us everything that we've done, kind of tell us exactly what's happening, and make it so that the average person can easily run these tasks that should be run more often to make their computer more efficient. All right. So again, any questions, always hit me up in the chat on the site, or you can email me at matt@darkscalepc.com, or you can call the phone number on our website during our business hours. As always, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy this. I think you could make your life a lot easier.